What's the most elaborate prank you've ever pulled? I stole my wife's house from her and sold it, and she never saw the money. So about 10 years ago, I decided that I wanted to own a house, but I didn't want to work for it. And so, after some thinking, I got a genius idea. I started using the fact I was an extremely attractive guy to my advantage. I went to as many speed dating events as possible. Sometimes I'd drive hours to attend, and at these events I'd look for the least attractive girls possible. The chubby ones, the really big ones, even the really big ones. I'd put my charm on when talking to them, and that plus how much relatively better looking I was, it worked every time. I'd get their details, and that very same night, cyberstalk them. I'd find out absolutely everything in an attempt to find just one who matched every criteria I needed. I went through almost 1,000 women with no luck. But then finally, after 3 years, I found the one. Becky. Not only was she unattractive, but she also had no dad, no siblings, and most importantly, a terminally ill mother with a house. I immediately reached out to her, saying I wanted to take her to dinner that Saturday. Now, Saturday was 2 days away and she lived across the country, meaning I had to drive across 6 states and live there in my little Nissan pickup until I found a place. But either way, that Saturday I took Becky out to the arcade, and I could tell she was into me. She kept touching my arm, staring into my eyes, and though looking at her made me want to shiver in disgust, I acted my butt off. I acted so well it made me question if I could be sociopathic. We kissed a lot, and at the end of the night, I ensured the slam dunk home run by asking if I could come over to her place. I would have asked to end up back in mine, but she thought I grew up here and had a place, and since I was living in the Nissan parked outside the arcade, we went to hers. From that day on, I made her life a living dream. I gave her flowers, chocolates she really didn't need, and all my love. The day she broke down about her mother for the first time is still one of the funniest to me. She was going on and on about how her only family member would die, all while I only had 2 things on my mind. I already know, and what about the will? I actually married her before her mother's death too. It seems karma had it out for me though. Her mother lived half a year longer than the doctors gave her, which meant 6 extra months of putting up with Becky, who I hated. She chewed loudly, snored loudly, burped loudly, farted loudly, and insisted we do it 3 times a day. There were nights I'd lay awake with the thoughts of ending it going through my mind. Either way, soon after her mother's death, I framed her for cheating, confronted her with the evidence, and started divorce procedures. She cried and begged me to believe her, but I had come so far, I wasn't stopping now. And then, while the divorce was finalizing, I framed her for fraud. I anonymously reported her for a Ponzi scheme I had been running in her name since we met. I had funneled $200,000 back and forth between random accounts of elders I scammed. Even though there was no hard evidence, I knew this, plus the divorce would overwhelm her. I was correct, and as the investigation was ongoing, I gave her the idea. Authorities might potentially seize her house, because our divorce started before the investigation, she could transfer the house to me to avoid it getting seized. I promised to give it back when she got out, and by continuously pressing her about it, persuaded her. She legally transferred ownership to me, and soon after her trial came, I watched her walk away in handcuffs, then went home and started the listing process. I sold the house, bought another in a cheaper country, and kept the remaining $150,000. She never heard a word from me again.